S&P chart, Bitcoin check, stream check. Looks like everything's a go. Hey friends, it's Ernie, the trader of futures. It is Friday. Friday of a very, this is one of my favorite winter weeks because it's just so laid back. You're just finishing up the Christmas vacation or downtime. You're coming into, a lot of people get this week off, or when they do go to work, they practically do nothing. Mainly engage in lunchtime activities. At least that's what I remember. I haven't been to an office in, 20 years? And then that all leads up to the big party for the new year. I don't know what you do for the new year, but I've been doing the same thing now. This will be my wife and I, our family, our 25th year going over to a friend's house. This one particular friend used to be our neighbor, lived on the other side of town at that time. We were there for about 5 years. We both moved into the area at the same time. Bring the microphone a little closer. And then we traded up and moved to a bigger home on the other side of the town. And we've always remained friends. And this will be the 25th year that we're going to be doing New Year's Eve together. Something to be said for friends and tradition like that. We had talked about possibly going out to dinner instead, a little bit different. And one of the regulars that comes to this party is a vegan and didn't know what they were going to order. And then we were all like, well, what are we going to do? Can we call ahead, make some special arrangements? And we're thinking to ourselves, man, we just have such a great time going to the house. And boy, they have a beautiful house. It's on 10 acres on top of a hill, palatial estate. And they really do it up, too. I'm sure you'll see some pictures. So we're thinking, why are we going through all this crap? Let's just do the same old thing. The same good thing. So that's what we're going to do. Vegan. My son's a vegan. It's funny. Years ago, he was like a carnivore. And he was the only one in the house that ate red meat. Now he's a vegan. He's going up and down, up and down. Jesus. I like to say, I say that I'm on a keto-like diet. I don't want to say I'm doing a keto diet because that puts you in a special class. It seems to be I don't know, I don't want to say privileged, but that's like the in thing now to do, keto, or a paleo diet. Paleo is like the extreme version of keto. But I didn't choose to be on a keto diet. I just chose to diet this way, and I've been doing it now for a while. And I found out that it's like a keto diet, so that's why I say keto-like. So I'm wondering if I have any resolutions or New Year's resolutions to make. Things that I have to resolve, things that I have to improve. I mean, there are so many things. That's going to take a lot of thought because I really don't know what I need to do to improve or how to improve it. Or should I make a plan? Should there be some kind of process that I go through to achieve these goals? Do I write them down? Do I just know what they are? You know, like the ones I get reminded of every day from the wife. All my failings. Yeah, what do I do? It's hard. It's really, really hard. It's not really that hard. I mean, life is like that. You have all these things that you want to do and say and be or become. And you're wondering, how are you going to take that next step? How are you going to get there? How am I going to become a better person this year? Is that your goal, to be a better person each year? And so what happens if you don't fulfill your resolutions? Does that mean that you haven't become a better person? Such pressure! Holy crap! I can't believe all this pressure we put on each other and ourselves. Doesn't seem right. I mean, I agree with the overall concept of continually wanting to improve yourself or improve your lot, and how you were, what your relationship is with your friends and family, and are you doing the right thing? Are you doing something that's worthwhile of society? Are you making a mark in this life that is notable? Will you be remembered? Is that what it's all about? Being remembered? Maybe. Again, it just seems so hard. There's got to be an easier way. What's the easy way? Is there an easy way and to get everything that you want? Unfortunately, there isn't. Because if there were, everyone would be doing it. Is there an easy path? The answer is there is an easy path. The problem is that it's really hard to find that path. Sometimes you have to create the path and then walk on it. But to clear that path, it is quite a task. Because it's filled with all these obstacles. Some of them seem immovable. What do you do? How do you clear the path? How do you make a better way? Damien wants to know more about the trading program. I got in late to the live stream last night. I'm going to talk about that. In a way, that's what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about how do you find that easy path? What is the hard road that you have to follow to find that easy path? Is it possible to ride on the coattails of somebody else that has already found that easy path, and you just follow along in the wake of that person? I think that's what a lot of people try to do. The problem with that is that if you jump off the coattails, you find yourself in this morass, this dark place, because you don't recognize it. You didn't create the path. You don't know where the light switch is. Yeah, Tyler, I saw that Bitcoin popped up a little bit there just a few minutes ago. And that's right, short every friggin' rally. Yep, that's an easy path. But that was born out of a lot of analysis and experience and knowledge and trial and error. And a lot of hopium and FUD and FOMO. So that was a hard path to get to something easy. There's going to be a point, like with Bitcoin in particular, where, you're not going to recognize me anymore. You're going to say, who is this guy, Ernie? I thought he was the Bitcoin basher. And it might not be just Bitcoin. It might be some other related crypto or whatever. Or the tenets of the whole technology and what it might offer. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I was reminded of it by my business partner. My business partner in these artificial intelligence alerts. That it won't be long. Well, you've probably heard of the Patreon thing and Sargon of Akkad. You may not know who Sargon of Akkad is, but he's a very popular YouTuber. And Patreon indiscriminately, under the guise of their amorphous policy, their ambiguous policy, deleted him from the platform, thereby cutting out a good deal of his income. And it appears as if this was politically motivated, but also going up the chain to the payment processor that is behind Patreon, namely PayPal and others, are not so keen about certain speech that we exercise on our social media platforms. And they're very picky about that and extremely discretionary and ambiguous on the standards that they apply. They don't apply them evenly across the board. And so what this really comes down to is these payment processors, which are essentially ties to banks, are in the position of power to limit our speech in terms of what we can practice and what we can do, how we make money. And this is really important when you start extending this out to what are the possibilities. Where will this go? Where will this suppression of free speech go? And we've also seen it happen in politics too. I mean, it is at a fever pitch, especially with the Democrat Party, a good portion of it moving extremely to the left. I mean, communist left. Totalitarian, authoritarian left, where they think they have to control all speech and peg everybody into a group and separate them and create animosity between them for the purpose of gaining power. Control your speech and everything that you say, the vernacular, the colloquialisms that you use that were one time normal are now considered not politically correct. That whole idea that politically correct or cultural appropriation as a thing. There is no such thing as cultural appropriation. It's a made-up thing. It's a made-up trigger. Again, to try to suppress freedom of speech. So what happens when PayPal then extends back to the bank, like Bank of America or Citibank or whatever, and they decide then that they're going to express their consternation over your use of speech and decide that they're not going to offer you banking services anymore because they don't like you. So this is kind of bringing me round circle to all of this, and this crypto revolution, it started out as a revolution and then it petered out. Now it's kind of an evolution, and we're very early on in its primary stages of evolving. It hasn't evolved yet. It's still an amoeba. Needs to grow some appendages and a heart. Ernie, explain collectivism. It's the opposite of individualism and objectivism. It's a group mind think that suppresses the aspirations and the thoughts of the individual and puts the needs of the many over the needs of the individual. I mean, democracy is a type of collectivism. And I know that there are a lot of liberals or leftists. I want to separate that liberal and leftist because I consider myself a classical liberal, which today is now considered this alt-right, like a neo-Nazi now. I mean, that's how far left these people have gone. They've taken classical liberalism and turned that into being a Nazi. It's fucking insane. But, democracy is basically mob rule. It's like 2 two wolves and a sheep trying to decide where to go for lunch. That's democracy. That's why, and a lot of these leftists are trying to say, well, we have to protect our democracy. And I tell them, no, we do not have a democracy. That's not what made us great. You want democracy. You want mob rule. And that's not what we have. We have a representative republic, a decentralized government that is run by the people, where the rights of the individual are supreme. The exact opposite of a collectivism or a collectivist society, a democracy, a pure democracy, or a social democracy. Where someone makes your decisions for you, for the better good, for your own good. And in a way, I can see, an alternative monetary system as being extremely appealing and protecting ourselves from this this robbery, this thievedom of our speech. Well, Nick, you're right. It's the United States, and the states are individual and separate with their own autonomy with respect to the federal government. The federal government is just sort of like this carapace that they do for convenience, for like big things like protection, having an army and infrastructure. It's not supposed to be more than that. But you take that down to the ultimate, even within a state, then counties and towns are supposed to have autonomy. And then within a town, the individual. And it all filters down to that. The individual has the ultimate rights. Each of us. Jacob says they don't like the idea that Montana has as much a say as California in the U.S. Senate. Well, fuck. They have Congress, and they have representative amounts in Congress. What the fuck do they want? Don't they see, the problem is that they don't understand a republic and what it means, a representative republic and what it means, because it's anathema. It's antithetical to their collectivist mentality. So anyways, what I was getting, I started off, I'm maybe getting a bit off track. But I wanted to say that, I am thinking about, what are some alternate ways to protect ourselves, to diversify our means of commerce and our ways of expressing ourselves through monetary means. And crypto, might have that potential, but as it is construed right now, and particularly with things like proof of work as a mechanism to validate transactions, is untenable. And the governance model is a monolithic governance model. Again, untenable. It needs to be more like a representative republic, the governance models. And I can see something like that, and having that alternative to the mainstream banking as being a positive, and something that we probably need to embrace soon, because this idea of banks and payment processors starting to encroach on our lives and dictating the speech that they feel is worthy of supporting is scary. It's only scary because we, as a people, create these monopolies and put our trust in them. But if we create other avenues, other sources where we can do business and not have fear of that suppression of speech, then it's going to be better overall. Again, this diversity but not diversity for diversity's sake. Even that goes to an extreme. I mean, the leftists want to embrace that. They think diversity on everything, which is stupid. Diversity with purpose. But Frank, you're right. Crypto is too complex for the mainstream developer. It's too complex for everybody, just about, except for the nerds, which I'm one of. So that's why crypto, as it exists today, it's just not there yet. But it is a potential solution to regaining our freedom of speech. I mean, gold and silver, if we can transact in that is another very viable alternative. I have a gold money account, and someone has actually paid me in gold for our services. Now, the problem with it is that the extent of services like subscription services and references and chargebacks and things like that aren't built yet into that system. It's still primitive, even though that means of transacting money has been around for so long, the longest. But I like that. I do. I like gold. Gold and crypto and silver and bartering just for services. So, Casper, you're absolutely wrong that my views have changed on crypto. I've always seen that value. What I've seen is a piss-poor implementation of trying to achieve that value. Gold and silver-backed crypto is best of both worlds. And I've thought about that a great deal. And in fact, that was one of the principles behind Junto Coin. If you go to juntocoin.com, it's my website, and I had an idea, and I had to put the idea on ice because of all this regulatory bullshit. But the idea there with Junto Coin was a kind of a membership coin, a token that represents your ideas on the market. And it would be backed partly by silver and precious metals and other assets, and then the rest of it by this portfolio that you can control through your voting. But right now, it's very difficult to see how that might work in the current environment without it becoming a security. And I don't want it to be a security. I just want it to be a token that you use to vote, to exercise your freedom of speech. So that's what Junto Coin is. I think we'll get there. Once I get over those legal hurdles and it can move forward. Just an idea too early. But you're wrong, Casper. I have not all of a sudden changed. I've had this vision way before crypto was popular. Way before. I just saw it as a medium that might be able to do that until I run into this regulatory stonewall. All right. So, trading. I mean, trading is, one source of income that I would look at. There should be many different sources of income that any average person should engage in to create that that diversity not for the sake of diversity, but these non-correlated strategies, these non-correlated income strategies that protect you in case you lose one, you have others that you can rely on. They have a type of robustness when you have that diversity. But diversity for diversity's sake does not necessarily imply any kind of robustness, or even robustness isn't the right word, convexity or anti-fragility. I recommend everybody read the book Anti-Fragile or listen to the audiobook by Nassim Taleb. You get an idea of what we're talking about there in terms of diversity and how powerful a tool it is. If you create those diverse things in a sane and non-correlated way so that they are resistant to stresses in the system, and in fact so resistant that they actually gain in strength. The human body is like that. The human body, we are anti-fragile because when we put stress on our body, both emotional and physical, we respond by getting stronger. And so our social and economic systems should be based on that same kind of idea. Do I have a view on Kazanomics? I don't know what Kazanomics are. I'll look at it. And of course, Casper's got to shill XRP because he's a one-trick pony, I guess. So, anyhow, trading is the hardest way to make easy money. See, when you have an anti-fragile system, it can live on beyond its means and become better. We're always striving to create such systems. We don't know it yet. We do it with ourselves, and we don't even know it. I guess most people don't even think about it or put it into words or into a concept. We are anti-fragile. A representative republic is anti-fragile. A democracy is not anti-fragile. So the three books are Black Swan, Anti-Fragile, Systems That Gain from Disorder, and Fooled by Randomness. I don't see XRP as being anti-fragile, by the way, Casper. Anything but. It is fragile. So, again, trading, the hardest way to make easy money. Going down that path, that easy path, but how to get there. It is to construct this elaborate anti-fragile world around you. Strategies that are non-correlated with each other, but each and of its own have a particular strength. So that when in combination, they act in an anti-fragile way. When there's stress put on the system, some of those strategies step up to it and others retract. When there's another type of stress, it shifts and adapts, learns, and becomes better. So it's not just the strategies that are in place, the diversity of strategies. It's also the continual update and what is the word? Cultivating, curating of strategies that you're continually creating and testing, curating, and then putting into play, putting them into the show. Because it's all a big show. Yep. So trading is the hardest way to make easy money, and that's some. I keep on saying that because that's something that one of my mentors told me. I didn't know what he meant at first, until it took me 5 or 6 years of studying under him to realize, wow, this is where it all comes from. It's hard for me to believe that Andreas Antonopoulos gave an anti-fragile speech, but I'd like to take a look at it. It may renew my respect for that man, because right now I don't have a lot of respect for him. Sometimes and when I watch the speech, I'm sure that I'm going to look at it with a great deal of skepticism, thinking that he's simply trying to latch onto something that he doesn't necessarily believe in. But we'll see. Because everything else that he's talked about, to me, is not anti-fragile. So the hardest way to make easy money. So we took all these concepts, this anti-fragility, the idea of black swans can happen, the idea of the 90-10, put 90% into ultra-conservative, 10% into things that are potentially explosive, and then wrap that in this awareness of randomness and the statistical nature of the world and what works, and use that as kind of a guide, a basket, a home from which to develop and curate strategies, with the idea that we needed to get to multiple strategies that were non-correlated. And we do that through our curation process. And then as we come up with strategies that had small correlations to each other, we would deploy them into the real world and say, these are our tools. These are the things that we're going with now. They may change. They're likely to change, as some of them may not live on and be useful forever. Anthony's asking, hey, Ernie, what are your thoughts about having your partner come on to have a conversation with you on my show? That's a possibility. We're discussing it, but he's reticent, cautious. He doesn't even really expose who he is in our support room for the AI setups. He's just the AI mentor. But he is an extremely good debater and speaker. So it would be good. We'll see. Anthony wants to know, hey, Ernie, have you thought about having your Oh, that's the same one. Michael Jones. One great thing about AI I just realized is that AI takes the emotion out of trading. If you understand it, and if it comports with your bigger picture philosophy, I think that is true. Because if you don't understand it, it can. You may not understand. You may be bewildered by it. So Damien's asking, what do you think of the talk going around about getting your coins off exchanges? I'll tell you what, if exchanges go down and people lose their coins, it will take years for the trust to come back. Yeah, the whole idea of exchanges is antithetical to the idea of crypto, because they are centralized places where you hold decentralized assets. There are a few decentralized exchanges, but they haven't taken off. Again, because of the complexity. People can't approach it very easily. They don't understand it. Keep on getting these emergency alerts. It's ringing in my ear right now. Per MEMA, sporadic 9/11 outages. In emergency, use local 10-digit number for police and fire. Isn't that interesting? So the 911 system is down, or sporadically down. So the AI setups are trade setups that are generated by this artificial intelligence. I have to be honest, it's not all just this artificial intelligence. It is a symbiosis between the AI mentor, myself, and this tool that we have, this pattern recognition tool that kind of follows in this bigger philosophy that I'm talking about. I have I'm asking, try it out. Try out the AI setups. It's easy to use even for people that are working because you can set up the trades the night before. Do all the execution and set up the night before, and then possibly maybe monitor them once or twice during the day, and that's it. So, yeah, Anthony, I also agree that bringing in another person like my partner would be really cool. But he has to get over a little bit of his anxiety. He's not an anxious person. There's just specific things that need to be solved first. Another partner, business partner. Again, multiple non-correlated incomes. Very interesting. Allery, ho, how you doing? Hayseed says, an anti-gravity wealth machine. Hey, Hayseed, the phone didn't pick up for some reason. Hey, Siri, what is an anti-gravity machine? Of course, it found things on the web. Take a look. Look at this, Ernie. Any deals on the volume profile trading course? Yeah, I mean, if people are interested in that, I will offer it. I will offer something probably this weekend on Monday for next week. What an interesting thing with the AI setups when we start examining their, what they do and how they behave and where the artificial intelligence is telling us are the optimal places for entries and where the expected move is going, all statistically based, is that it marries up very nicely with the volume profile of that particular asset in terms of the low volume wells and the high volume nodes. And so that says a lot, and that's without actually putting any of that type of programming into it, which leads me to believe that maybe we should put that kind of knowledge into the system as well. But it happens automatically. What other trading channels do I recommend? None. Why would I recommend other trading channels right now? I want you to watch me. I'm building this channel. Tell everybody on those other channels to come over here. At least they'll get something worth hearing. I'm just kidding. There are lots of good people out there, but most of the people out there are shit. And that's just the truth. Most of them are shit. And let me tell you, Anthony, that when it comes to trading channels that focus on crypto, it's not just most of them, virtually all of them. Virtual is a tough word because that implies some kind of absolute, but with a little bit of leeway. 99% of them are shit on the crypto. So I come into all of them looking at them with a great deal of skepticism. Yeah, like Tone Vase. Although he's minimally entertaining when he says stupid shit, or when he has that the girl that also helps him host the show. She's very cute, very charming. Can't stand Jimmy's song or... Anyways. Oh, thanks, Frank. Yeah, this channel has technical analysis plus coaching and analysis of markets and strategies and real-world philosophical insights. And let me add that. Nathan wants to know, does the volume profile trading course teach you how to identify high probability entry and exit points? That's the only point of the course. More importantly, you got to remember that volume profile itself is not a strategy. It is a tool to incorporate into a strategy. And so what I teach is the tool, how to use it in the context of a very basic trending strategy. Frank says, sometimes the show goes a little long, but it's fine. It goes until I peter out and lose things to say, or until you guys stop saying things that are worth repeating. Allery wants me to take a look at LODE. They're making a decentralized monetary system based on silver. Why not just buy silver? Would be my first question. Grant Williams and Raul Pal. I don't want to comment on other people. Even though I do. I don't want to. I'm just compelled to. That's right, Anthony. Don't forget weed. This channel also has weed. Really, what other channel do you get that package? No other channel. Maybe that's the problem, that it's too diverse. A hidden divergence on a bearish divergence on RSI on the SPY about to dump soon. Really. So you know that a hidden divergence does not detect a reversal. It detects a continuation of a trend. So you're saying that this pullback, and we're going to test that theory because I happen to know a little bit about divergences. In fact, you may find some benefit in checking out my video on divergences. We will look at that. Just a second. So there we go. Using divergences in trading. Wow, only 286 views? That's weird. in my older channel, I had 2 videos on divergences that had like 30,000 views. We'll see if we can get that more. Anyways, that's a what we'll do is we'll take that link, and I think I can put it in here. Have I tried microdosing shrooms to go with the weed? No, I haven't. But I have a bunch of shrooms. Maybe I should try it. Maybe I'll take like a little microdose of RSO and put it on a tiny bit of psilocybin. Well, the trend is down over the past few weeks, for sure. There is no doubt. So let's just check your theory. Now, RSI is not the best oscillator to use on hidden divergences, or any divergence, by the way. I found that Ultimate Oscillator is a little bit better. There are some that work a little bit better than others. Really depends on the market. So I want the RSI. Problem is, it's kind of hard to see. Let's look at it on the daily. I don't see it on the daily. The peak would have to be overbought. Maybe on a 4-hour. So on a 4-hour, you can see this. So there is a bearish hidden divergence, and then the expected move, I guess, then would be this way. So obviously the trend is this way. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weak. So my head's in the way. So the divergence here is from this apex to this apex here. There's definitely a downtrend. And then here we see the divergence that... who brought that up? Was it Damien? Oh, Booger's guy. So, yeah, there is a downtrend here, obviously, and an oversold, not quite an oversold condition here yet. But, that is a divergence for sure. I don't know about the extent of it. I don't think it's overbought enough yet. Yeah, I'm looking at the 4-hour right now, boogers. Looking on the weekly 36. I like what Boogers is saying. Look on the 4-hour, 3-hour, and 2-hour. At least you're looking in, but those are too close. There's nothing on the daily, and daily is where I'd put most of my my stock in. No pun in. Well, actually, that pun was intended. Nathan says, I hope it's as good as I think it is. As I have taken a few other courses, they are crap, only to try and upsell you later. Well, there is no upselling, but there is continuous support. So that would be the big difference. I think my view of volume profile is probably relatively simple, but volume profile, like I said, in by itself is not a strategy. It's a tool that you use within the context of another strategy. And that's how I approach it. And then I use a kind of a statistical method to figure out different paths, potential paths. And so I think that learning that is very useful. Money velocity is key. Yes, without money velocity, you have stagnation, anemia, where money is the blood of the economy. Money velocity is the heart rate or the blood pressure. Or like the heart rate. Thoughts on how the Grinch stole Christmas this year and the dead cat bounce. I don't know that this is a dead cat bounce. I have a friend, and now I don't believe in Elliott wave, by the way, but I'm going to reference Elliott wave to have credibility on this. First of all, I must go to the day chart. Secondly, I must get rid of the RSI. And then go back to the talking head. It's me. So one of the concepts within Elliott wave is this concept of an ABC wave, finishing off the 5 waves up. Wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then ABC down. Typically an ABC wave, the ideal ABC wave, now this is part of the whole Elliott wave thingy that goes out the window for me, because not all ABC waves are finished right on equal A and C segments. That's typically what that means. However, my friend Ted Agub, who is an excellent Elliottician, whatever that means, has given his prognosis that this downtrend is over, and based on this analysis. So I'll show you. So here we have our ABC wave is A, B, and then C. Now, his prognostication or his call a few days ago was that if the market came up and broke 2470 plus, then the C wave would be done. And the reason why he said that is the point at which the A wave equals the C wave. And that's what I've drawn this segment here that is this segment right here is the height of this A wave. And then that goes over to about 2470 or so. And so what he's saying is, for this to be a complete C wave, it needs to start turning up beyond that equidistant segment. And that's what he was saying, that because it has turned up and closed above that segment, that C wave now is complete. So goes the theory. I thought you'd probably never hear the Ernster talking about Elliott wave. And this doesn't mean that I believe in this. I'm just giving you and explaining the thought process of a very experienced and accomplished Elliotician. I reckon if it goes to 5K, then the bear market is not over. But if it drops down to the prior low of a double bottom, we could see a change. What are we talking about, Display Z? Look at the weekly 36 and RSI on what? I mean, are you talking about whatever? High rates, not low rates, improve money velocity. Well, rates, contrary to popular opinion or a popular view of the Fed, rates do not determine velocity. Rates should be a symptom of velocity or the lack thereof. That's the problem with the Fed. They think that they can control the tiger by grabbing a hold of its tail. When stocks are crashing and hope fades away, bring out the Elliott waves to maintain the bullish agenda. Ha 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 ha. No, I was just giving an alternative to why maybe this downturn is over. And also to kind of go in the face of this hidden divergence. Because there is no hidden divergence, at least on the daily yet. Because we don't have a big enough pullback, I don't believe. Anthony says, I hope that's the last time you speak of Elliott wave. Well, didn't I do enough caveats to that, and saying that I don't necessarily believe in this, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, to be arbitrary and say that, well, instead of just measuring the C wave, you have to measure where it breaks based on the A wave. And I guess in a roundabout way, from an Elliotician point of view, that makes sense. I think the whole idea is stupid. But I thought I'd show it to you. So, this one last note. As I said, to the end of the year, this is the last I'm going to offer this discount on the training with the AI setups, the AI trade setups, the artificial intelligence trade setups, the embodiment of everything that we have ever thought of or learned between me and the AI mentor, and also my mentors, all encapsulated into this pattern recognition system at a ridiculously low price, plus a big discount on the training, which I'm going to be holding tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Try to hold it every Saturday at 1 o'clock for all the new members. So I think we're going to have at least 6 or 7 new members from this past week, and then there'll probably be another 5 or 6 people from the current subscribership, maybe more. Sometimes I get 15 people in there, sometimes I get 5. It starts at 1 p.m. If you're a member, then you should have received the email. I sent it out about an hour ago. If you're a member, you didn't get it, check your spam mail. And if it's in there, then make sure to put my email in your address book. I'm not sure why my mail would go into spam. I certainly don't spam anybody. I mean, I have an email list, but I hardly ever send anything out on it. Except for things that people pay for. And I don't know how anybody could consider that spam. So Nathan says, so what does the volume profile tell us about the markets then? So volume profile will tell you about market structure and how price is likely to behave as it traverses that structure. Now, I'd have to go to like a weekly chart to look at volume profile and get a better sense. So right now, I believe that we're really in a good spot, but it's very possible that we may fill out this kind of trifurcated volume node. Oh, you can't see it because I'm. So we're right here right now, and we have this very disjointed node here. I mean, it looks like it needs to be filled in compared to this one up here, which seems very mature. This seems like an immature node down here. And so I feel like, well, maybe you could take any portion of it. Maybe this part needs to be worked over a little bit and filled in. And then we have this big volume well here. We could just skip away from this altogether and just move back up into this bigger volume node. But we have to cross this chasm here, which is exactly where we're at right now. We're butting up against resistance. So given that we're in a downtrend, I would say that the likelihood is higher for us to go down than it is for us to go up. So I would have to say that, you know, the likelihood is greater, in my view, that we'll probably fill out this immature node here before we can move on. The one thing that we have going for us is that there's a tremendous amount of volume here, and this chasm here is extremely deep, so that if we do cross it, it will be a relatively bullish move. So that's an interesting question, Anthony. Do I give weed growing training? If not, you should. Do you think I can make money at that? I think I could. I mean, I've got the experience of building, you know, dozens of different types of systems and, you know, dozens of grows with everything from deep water culture, recirculating, ebb and flow, drip, cocoa base, stone base, clay pellet base, living soil, tilless soil, no-till soil, super soil, and also the construction of interior rooms. As you can see right here, we've got one room there. some reason, when I pull on this, the cable on this is very sensitive. So that's a good idea, Anthony. Give weed growing trainings. I mean, if people are interested, I would be happy to put together a little, maybe a multi-part course, like a webinar. Show you how to set everything up and go from germination to smoking and everything in between. All right, so we're past an hour now, and again, I got to bring this up. What is this? A media source. I got to bring this up. Please go to our tradeoverfutures.com. Check out the artificial intelligence trade setups. Try it out for a month. Don't even trade. Just try it out for a month and participate. And watch what happens after a month. I mean, for $99, I mean, well, there's plus the $50 for the intro training. For that amount of money, that small amount of money, and I can guarantee you this, that almost every trade, on average, every trade will pay for almost a year's worth of your subscription. But try it out for a month. Just watch it, and then become a believer. And you'll see winner after winner after winner, winning day after winning day after winning day. If you want a good deal, go for the quarterly or the yearly subscription. Interestingly, I would say that half of my subscribers are in a quarterly or yearly subscription. I like those because I get all that money up front. Makes me feel rich. It's a good deal too. And I want to tell you that on the yearly one, I am going to be offering something on Monday. So, whether you get it today or on Monday, you'll get the same deal. So the training is free on this, and there will be one other nicety added to it. All right. So there are no more questions. There are no more comments. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Please leave a like. Hit this, like, leave a comment. Love to hear what you have to say. Share the video. Share it with your friends. And tell them, hey, you should come and check out Ernie at... usually I do it at 11 o'clock. And I have been doing an 11 at night show. But that's tough to do both. Just a lot of commitment. Nick N says, it sounds too good to be true. Where's the catch? There is no catch. That's why I said watch it, and then you decide if there's a catch. I don't know. Do you want to see? Well, let's just dip into the room. What happens if we dip into the room? Oh, there's a comment. Thank you very much for your service. This Christmas week was extraordinary. Um, what I should do is I should go through and then pick out, for you. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of messages every day, so all positive. So as far as I know, there is no catch. Just a good, solid service. And I'm not saying that we're going to be winners every day ad infinitum, forever and ever and ever. That would be wonderful if that happens. But the truth is that that's what's been happening over the last 3 months. Well, since October 4th. And so Bitcoin is pumping again. Let's check that out. Yeah, look at that. I guess the volume is so low that it's pretty easy to pump it up. And maybe there's a tax advantage for some of those whales to start pumping this up. So I'm going to take into consideration the weed growing. I'm going to take into consideration... we're already considering having the AI mentor join me. Those are all great suggestions. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation or the monologue that I had earlier today or earlier in this show. If you did, please let me know. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you all next time. I may do some weekend shows to try to finish up this year. So, adios, amigos. And we're out.